What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, we're cooking now. We're cooking. Cooking with oil, I think. Let's see. It's always on a bit of a delay. Anybody out there? Can anybody hear me? Am I doing this right? What's up, Mike? All right. All I need is one comment to let me know that I am not as technologically inept as I feel. There we go. Whoa. Is that a little loud? Yeah, it was all good until I ironically, as if on cue, popped the mic out. But you guys can hear me all right? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Mike? Thanks for letting me know about the audio and video. Let me know if it still sounds good. Might be a little soft if I'm judging it right, but let me know. Man, from Spain. Buenos dias. Making any money? What kind of question is that? Mike, ain't no dollar sign on a piece of mind. That's all that matters. Making money's relative, right? Ain't making money doing Uber, I'll tell you that much. If that's the question, Uber in the Philly market is at an all-time low, man. And it is just going down and down and down. And we'll actually be talking about, there's a story related to that today. K-Tao. I don't know what that means. I don't know what, I stop at Buenos Dias. Mi español es muy mal. That's how the last live ended. I don't know if you were here for that or you caught any of that, but we had a little Spanish conversation at the last live. So, now here's what... We got a lot on the plate today. And something I want to show you guys. This is what we're talking about. Or I want to play this video. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Jaw-dropping video shows migrant Uber driver sucker-punching rider. And this is something that I'm going to do that's new here. Let's see. So I'm going to try to play this from... Actually, what if I do this? Let's do front, back. Get both sides. Turn this up. Here, I'm going to play this. You guys let me know if you can hear this all right when I'm playing this. And we're not going to watch the whole video now, but I'm just trying to get it set up so we're ready to go.
Welcome back. So our next guest is suing Uber after a shocking attack, which was all caught on camera. Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury.
Did that sound all right? You know what? I wonder if I bring it up on my phone tonight. Oh, you know what? I bet it echoed. Here we go. Let me try it again.
And he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biofarm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now. Before we get into talking about the suspect here, just fill us in.
All right, sweet. Was it all good the first time or the second time? Was there an echo the first time? I gotta I need to set up with the headphones as they do it. But that ain't me, man. That ain't me. That ain't me, babe. All right, so oh no, worse. Oh, all right. So I'll do it the first way. Do it live. If it's echoing later, let me know. All right, I got it all. I got it all under control now. First, done. All right, sweet. That actually makes me feel really good. All right, sweet. All right, so we will save that for later. Let me give my introduction. I'll say what's up to the comments. I believe Long Island's brutal too, but that's good you're making money up there. I would bet in the summertime, Long Island is probably similar to the Jersey Shore. We still make a little money down the Jersey Shore, not as much as it used to be, but I mean, it used to be not right how good the money was down there. But I'm hoping if you're out in Long Island at some of the shore towns in the summertime, it's doing good stuff for you. But and I don't know if it's further away from the city, the less drivers there are. But yeah, man, it's tough around here. But that's good. It's good. It's keeping you in the business for yourself for the most part. I'm glad to hear that. Happy Friday, Ricardo. Ricardo, we got a friend from Spain, an amigo from Spain. You missed a little Spanish at the top of I was saying, at the end of the last live, un poquito español. And at the top of this live, un poquito español. All right, so I'm actually excited for this Free Camera Friday. So we got 3 stories. We got the sex trafficking Uber driver, which is like this story I'm so excited to share because as I've read it, I could feel my blood pressure rising because I've been in similar situations, but not as frustrating. And it just gets out of control. We got a scary Uber ride, and we also have a scariest ride ever, and then we also got an hilarious ATV guy. There's the title of the ride, and it's like it's why I love driving Uber. The ATV guy is like, those are the rides you'll see when I share. It's like, that's why I wish I could drive Uber all the time. That's why I wish this could be viable as a full-time job, because it's just like, you just don't see that side of life otherwise. So we're running the whole gamut today, and even more so, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about this story. It's been making its rounds a little bit. Some people have seen it. Jaw-dropping video shows migrant Uber driver sucker punching rider, and there's actually a lot of twists in this story. Got a nice video of, I don't want to say nice, entertaining maybe. Well, actually, a horrible video of a guy getting knocked out. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's horrible. You shouldn't get knocked out. When you shouldn't fight, all that kind of stuff. But let's be honest, man. This day and age, it's like you're so desensitized for everything. It's like I'm not even watching real life. It's just like a video game. It's like content. Oh, it's entertainment. It's crazy. It's sad. It's sad. I say that with a smile on my face, but hurt in my heart. It's not right that I should watch 2 civilians fist fight on pavement, one getting knocked out, and instead of being repulsed by it, look at it like, holy smokes, that was one hell of a move. But part of that too is I think there's a whole lot more to the story that no one's talking about, and the comments is why I really want to talk about this story, because in this video that I'll show you, the Uber driver is an illegal immigrant. And all these, I don't want to say normies, but all these people who just like don't know how Uber works are like, how on God's green earth can a legal immigrant work for Uber? Isn't there a background check? Don't they have to get a license? Doesn't Uber vet the drivers? It's like, we've been telling you people for years, no. That's why nobody's making money anymore, because there's all these illegal immigrants taking all these rides for dirt cheap that American citizens wouldn't take, and not even American citizens, just American citizens or legal immigrants wouldn't take, and that's what we've been trying to tell you people for years. But we'll get to that in a second. Before we do, got to introduce you guys to the 4th episode of Free Camera Friday. Last week, let me bring the poll up. Last week we had only 2 submissions, and the last I checked, let's see where it's at. The last I checked, the dash cam poll had the accidental Uber story at 60%. So, Zach Pot, the accidental Uber story, who creepily passed by a rider multiple times. Congratulations. You got 60% of the votes. Only 55 people voted this week. I wonder if it's because, I actually have a feeling it's because I didn't have a picture with the poll, and YouTube rewards image polls more so than text polls. So anyway, I'll make sure I put an image on there next time. But congratulations, Zach. I'll be reaching out to see what kind of camera you'd be interested in. So, as many of you know, this is Free Camera Friday, and what we do is we read story submissions from Uber drivers of the craziest Uber ride they had, the funniest Uber ride they had. And it doesn't have to be an Uber ride. It could be the wild experience in the car, just situations where a dash cam would have been handy. I'm doing this in order to promote my book, The Unbelievable Stories of Driving Uber, which is full of crazy Uber stories, some of which I have on dash cam, but most of which I cannot share on YouTube for numerous reasons. And, I'm trying to get this book out there. And if it was up to me, I'd just give out 5,000 copies because that's my goal. That's my goal because a famous author once said, the only true form of book marketing is getting 5,000 copies in circulation. And if the book is good, word of mouth will take care of the rest. And I'm very excited to say that as some comments and reviews are coming in, it's what's the word? Reinforcing my belief, my knowledge, my truth that this is a good book, and this is a book that is giving, shedding light, sharing a perspective that people want to hear. And so it's really cool. I really appreciate the comments and the reviews and stuff like that. It's just a matter of getting this thing out there. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the marketing budget to give out 5,000 copies. However, I do have a bunch of dash cams that, oh boy, have been, where am I at? I can't see myself on screen. I'm sure you guys see it. That have been given to me, and that's just half of them. I got plenty more. So, I'm running this promotion. Submit your stories and potentially win a dash cam as we get this book to 5K. Now, what we're doing every week is reiterating getting this book out there. And for those of you who, would like a physical copy of the book, I'm running this pay what you want promotion, so to speak. Unfortunately, you will have to pay for shipping. I'm already eating the cost on the production of the book, but minimum $5 just to cover the shipping. If you want to pay more, if you can pay more, that's great. Typically, I sell the books for $20. But if you only want to cover the shipping, that's totally fine. I'm just trying to get this book out there. I really appreciate you, giving the book a read. And if you give it a review, that would be even better. But you could Venmo me at least $5 at Ed-Doyle, confirmation digit 7467, and just put your shipping address in the email or in the Venmo memo. So I know where to send it. And all my transactions are private, so no one would see your address. And then also, I'm giving out as many audiobook codes as I can. So if you are interested in hearing the audiobook and you want a code to download it for free, it's currently $19.95 on Audible. I don't set the price. I wish I could. I would just drop it down to $0 because, like I said, I'm trying to get this book out there. But unfortunately, I can't do that. Amazon controls the pricing. But if you want a free code, a free download code, as long as I have them to give out, I will. You can just email me at thedriveredshow@gmail.com. And that reminds me, I should put, there we go. And there's a audiobook link. I'm putting audiobook link. Audiobook link for free Audible trial. I gotta pin that one, yeah. Nice. All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Friday, guys. Benjamin, I'm good. How about you? Aswin, what's up? It's been a minute. All right. Now, this is my favorite part. Well, it's my favorite part when it works out. When it doesn't work out, it's sad. But so far, every week we've hit our goal. And last week, our goal, was 10 books. First week was 3, second week was 5, third week was 10. And did we hit 10 books, my friends? We blew it out of the water. Granted, a lot of these were free audiobook downloads, but doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get the book out here. So, for the paperback copies, we moved 2 copies. So we're up to 233. For the Kindle, we sold 1 download. We'll take it. You know, Kindle's hard to get out there. You know, I don't know a lot of people who read ebooks, so I'm not too worried about that. The audio book is, I know this is a great book to put on in the car, or like, you know, when you're working out at the gym or going for a walk or something like that. Just something entertaining to distract you, get lost in your thoughts. The audio book, my friends. So hold on, we added 2 and 3, so we're up to 322. 322. The audiobook, my friends, last week, and I'm actually really proud of this. It just goes to show, guys, like, and this is something that, it sounds ridiculous. It's been true in every area of my life, and it's like, I wish I just really embraced this when I was like 12 years old. It's like, whatever you want, you just got to put energy in it, you know? And there's just so much where it's like, oh, I want to do this, but you're not willing to just do small, consistent things. You know, this is a perfect example, you know? So with this book, it's like, man, I just wish there was one video or one thing that happened, like maybe some like big name on Twitter, Reddit, and shared a link, and then boom, 100,000 downloads overnight or something, right? Or it's like, I always equate things to working out. Like, yeah, everybody wants to get in shape, but like, nothing happens overnight, you know? And instead, if you just focus on these really small gains consistently, it's like, it makes such a big difference. And that said, you know, this book has been out for like a year and a half. The audio book, maybe not that long, maybe six months. And, you know, up until 3 weeks ago when I started this, I was at like 30 some downloads, I think. Maybe I was up to 40, I forget. And then I had a small goal of 3, small goal of 5, small goal of 10. And then just last week, again, in 1 month, a month ago, I was at 30. And check this out. Thanks to you guys showing up and all these reviews and stuff, I get 79 downloads. Like, oh, you can't see it. Sorry. Anticlimactic. Oh, man, I'm just messing all up here. Grabbing the wrong thing. 79 downloads. Like, you know, I know. In the big scheme of things, that's like, it's not a lot, you know? I ain't paying my rent with 79 downloads, right? But that's not the point. The point is, it's like, this is more than double what I was a month ago. And like, it's just like, it's so motivating. You know, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. You can look at it like, I mean, I got 40 downloads, which like at the end of the day, that's, you know, again, not paying my rent with 40 downloads. But you could also look at it where I doubled my downloads, you know? I got 100% more downloads. And that's like, if I could grow 100% every month, like, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like, if you could keep that up, that's all you need to do. I mean, obviously that's not sustainable, but kid can dream, right? Point is, thank you very much for everyone who downloaded this. Reviews are more than appreciated. And yeah, it just feels really cool to like, look, man, you put energy into something and you see something back, and it's like, you know, it's just like, it's very, it's motivating when that happens, you know what I mean? So anyway, we get to up this to 79. I am so excited about that. So we're going to add 19 more, and we're at 341, baby. What is it? August? Man. All right. I think, man, what do you think? What's the next goal? We did 10 books. I was thinking to do 15, but should I get a little crazy, do 20? Where's my panel at? Where are we at? Sorry, I'm not great with seeing the chat. I lost the chat. Where you guys at? There we go. All right. What's up? All right, you know what? We're just going to keep on increasing bit by bit. Goal for this week, 15 books. 15 books this week, 15 downloads. It's all we need. All we need. All right. Very cool. Well, seriously, thanks to everybody who downloaded it, and I'm excited. Now let's check this video out. I'll look at these comments, but then we can check this video out. How different is driving a Prius compared to your Civic? If I can be honest with you, I hate it. Love the gas mileage. I had it for like a month. For the first month, I wasn't driving that month. Maybe more. Yeah, probably like 2 months because I was still driving my other car, even though it wasn't street legal. It was fine, but just the tyrannical laws of Pennsylvania say you can't drive it without some magical sticker that costs $40. Even though it was totally fine, other than the overheating issue where I had to blast the heat whenever I was driving, which totally sucked in the summertime. But other than that, it was fine. But yeah, so I love the gas mileage. And surprisingly enough, I love the space. There's been some projects I've had to do. I had to run to Home Depot, and like you can fit a lot of stuff when you put the seats down and open up that hatch. It's very, very spacious. Other than that, I feel like I'm driving like a plastic box, and it has no pickup. I feel like, hills can be a challenge. I feel like if it's windy, it like literally I could feel the wind. Nothing about the car. It's not very comfortable for me. Just honestly not a fan. And granted, it's a 2012 Prius, so if you have a newer Prius, I'm sure you might have a different experience. But and I also hate the I've always been like this. In 2012, it had a touch, it's a 2012 car, but it has a touchscreen. But it's like 2012 technology. So it's like, you got to think 2012, like, I think Instagram was like still new, like that's the world we were living in 2012. So you can imagine, like, the touchscreen looks very like just old, and it's not very responsive. And it's just like, it's not like using an iPhone. It's like using a shitty touchscreen from 2012. It sucks. It's hard to read. So yeah, not the biggest fan of my Prius, but love the gas mileage. What's up, Luigi? All right. Now, I'm going to play this. Let me know if you guys can hear it all right. This is titled, Jaw-dropping video shows migrant Uber driver sucker punching rider. Excuse me.
Welcome back. So our next guest is suing Uber after a shocking attack, which was all caught on camera. Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. Welcome back. So our next guest is suing Uber after a shocking attack, which was all caught on camera. Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury, and he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biopharm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now.
Can you guys? Well, is this? You guys hear that all right? That's what I'm saying, man. Luigi, I was saying that earlier. I'm like, I hate just looking at some guy getting knocked out like entertainment, but you look at that, you're like, man, like that was a nice move. Can you guys hear that all right? And part of it too, it's like you got this guy coming on the news and like causing a stink about it. It's like, all right, I can't really feel bad for you, bro. Like, you're drawing attention to it. It obviously can't be that bad. If that was me, I would be so embarrassed. I'll get to that in a second, but like, can we just break down, like, before we get to it, like, and I want you guys to hear what this guy's saying through this lens, okay? Before we get to it, Right away.
Which was all
You're just thinking like, all right, this guy gets knocked out. But let's
caught
slow
on
this
camera.
tape
Take a look
down.
at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out.
Now, before knowing the story, whatever it is that happened, right?
That attack.
Let's look what happened.
Left.
Okay? Let's not forget the fact this guy's coming on, and I already watched it, so I'm already like a little biased. In my opinion, he's going to paint this story like he's just some innocent bystanding victim. Gaz, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. I love that you saw that. And that is exactly
attack, which was all caught on camera.
He not only steps to him with his chest out.
Camera, take a look at this.
He's holding a dog and his phone in the other hand. Like, do you understand the disrespect, the disregard you have to have for another human being to step to somebody holding a golden doodle and an iPhone? You're basically saying, like, I can disrespect you and I don't need my hands. And it's like, to me, this CEO is somebody who's been in the boardroom a little too long, doesn't know what the real world's like. Because, I mean, by every sense of the word, this guy was literally asking for a fight. And who the hell asks for a fight when you're holding a dog and a phone? Like, what world do you think this is, man?
Illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury, and he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biofarm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now. Before we get into talking about the suspect here, just fill us in on what led up to this. There's no audio in that video, but we see the guy just get out of the car, you're holding your dog, and then he just clocks you in the face. What happened?
It was a very innocuous interaction. We had gone to get in the car, as is typical. I leaned in with the service animal to ensure that he was okay with the pet being with me. He said no pets. I said, she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on, right? I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, get your car, and that's it. Next thing I know, I'm on my back in the hospital.
Bullshit!
And here's the profile on this guy, if we can pull this up. He's an illegal immigrant from Russia, 42 years old. He illegally crossed into the sanctuary state of California back in 2022, then as usual was caught and released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. After he attacked you, he was arrested for second-degree assault and battery, then was released on a $10,000 bond, but he is now in ICE custody and ICE is seeking to deport him. You found all that out after the fact. What was your reaction?
I was shocked. Uber's a $200 billion company.
I wonder if that has any reason why you're causing a stink about this and trying to sue.
When you get in a car with the Uber sticker on it, it carries that brand weight. It carries the trust that you have in that brand. They imbue it.
Really? So it carries that trust. So why is it that all of society looks down on Uber drivers? Why is it that you are so disrespectful to an Uber driver that you would step to him with a dog and a phone? Why is it that you are so disrespectful to, the way you treat their car that, as you said, multiple times it happens where you try to show it with a dog that's a service animal, but you get rejected? In what world, drivers or riders, no one on earth, Uber, people who work for Uber, nobody thinks there's respectability that comes with Uber. If anything, the one thing the brand is known for is being a complete shit show for everyone involved.
Into these drivers. So you would have assumed, and I had up until that date, that they do background checks. They vet these individuals, that they've got a stringent process that's difficult to evade. And apparently that's not the case.
We've been trying to say that for years. We've been saying that, but y'all have been happy with your fucking $7 30-minute rides. Like, who do you think's taking these rides, man?
So I was taken aback, and it made me wonder, how often has this person done it? How many other times is this going to happen? And how do you change that narrative and fix this so that it doesn't happen to somebody else?
And then I understand after this happened, Uber suspended your account while the driver was allowed to keep driving, even though you provided hospital records showing what happened. Fill us in. What did Uber do? How did they handle this?
Wait. Uber's not going to handle something correctly? Whoa, this is newsworthy.
Yeah, in fact, he picks up an Uber ride about 2 minutes later after leaving
Jeez.
me for death, effectively. So when I got out of the hospital, I realized my account had been suspended. I corresponded with Uber. I sent them the hospital records. I sent them the police report. I actually sent them the contact information for the detective who was working on the case at the time, as well as had them speak to an eyewitness, and gave them my account along with pictures of the actual injuries. About 48 to 72 hours later, Uber just deactivated my account. So it appears to me that this is sort of their MO, right? Which is put yourselves, your end users, your riders in a dangerous situation.
Boom.
If something bad happens, disavow any sort of liability, any responsibility, any accountability. Throw your hands up and say it's got nothing to do with us, and then vilify the victims.
Everything he just said, there's something about this guy I don't like. There's a lot of things about this guy I don't like, and it's not something I can put my finger on a bunch of things. But everything he just said, I agree with, and I feel like every driver knows that's how Uber acts, and that's how Uber has treated drivers since it's been created. Everything's, have nothing to do with it, cut them loose, and it's just like, we've been trying to tell you guys, all of this shit we've been trying to tell you guys for years, and it's like,
And attack
you
us.
didn't listen because you liked your $7 30-minute ride.
Seems to be their process, and that's a very immoral way to go about your business, especially when you're a multi-billion-dollar global organization. You would think there would be a little more interest in the human side here.
And real quick,
See, that's where, I don't know. I don't know if this guy's just politicking because he's gonna is suing. It's like when you're a multi-billion-dollar global corporation, you would assume you have an interest in humanity. At what point in human history have very large, very greedy corporations put humanity first? How the hell do you think they became very large, $100 billion multi-global corporations? You guys know what I'm trying to say there. It didn't come out right. Like, you don't get to that size by putting humanity first, you idiot. Small businesses do that.
I want to tag out with what Uber is saying about all this. They say, quote, "There's no place for violence on the Uber platform. While we can't comment on pending litigation, Uber is deeply committed to safety and complies with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations around worker eligibility." Brian, got about 10 seconds left here. Just looking for a yes or no. Have they reached out to you to talk about any potential settlement here?
Not even a little, and that'll tell you exactly what that statement that they lay out really means, right? What commitment to safety do you have if you're unwilling to speak about safety here?
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on.
Says one bullshitter to another, Uber's doing the same thing you're doing, you asshole.
Wishing the best for you and your health, and please keep us posted on how that lawsuit plays out.
Thanks for having me, Bill. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks.
I'm Steve.
I have never, this guy is so clearly, I wouldn't say in the right, but this guy was wronged in the sense that he shouldn't have been punched. Probably not. I don't know. He does step to him with his chest out, but at the same time, he has a dog and his phone in his hand. But at the same time, he can throw a kick. You don't know his background. He could be a, mixed martial artist. The fact that he's comfortable enough to have a dog and his phone in his hand, it's like, in my head, I'm like, all right, maybe he's got some good leg work that I should be afraid of. And he does step to him. Probably shouldn't have been hit. Probably. Okay? All that said, there's never been someone who was wrong that I have disliked more. There's just, this guy is so full of shit. You can smell it through the screen. It's like there's something else there. He definitely said something. And I think it was Gaz. You pointed out, is the wife smiling? Yeah. Like I saw that too. I was like, am I just seeing that? You can see the wife when they do it. And I swear, this is like, I don't want to say, I'm going to get in some trouble on this one. I might have to, I might make a video of this where I can think about my thoughts a little clearer. I've just been in this situation a lot when there's men escalating to a physical confrontation and women, want to be clear, not all women, but women don't understand the stakes of the situation. And again, I'm assuming here, but in my experience, I would bet dollars to donuts that this woman is thinking, oh, you don't know who you're stepping to. My husband or boyfriend is the CEO of some tech company, as if that means any fucking thing in the real world. As Jack Nicholson says in The Departed, when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? You know, it's like this ain't a boardroom, man. This is literally a parking lot, okay? And so I don't care who you work for. I don't care if you're an Uber driver or a CEO. A fist is a fist. And if you're gonna step to somebody and you're not ready to defend yourself, one of my favorite quotes, talk about it in the book, don't pull that thing out unless you plan to bang. And by stepping to this driver, no matter what was said before, by stepping to him with his chest out, he pulled that thing out and he was not ready to bang. And as a result, he went bang against the cement. And I share all that, again, I admit, speculative, but by the way it plays out, you see this girl smiling like, oh, you don't
caught
know
on
what
camera.
you're doing. Look, you see her smiling right there.
Take a look at this.
And then watch this. After he sit, her face goes from shock, like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe that my husband or boyfriend stepped to somebody in a physical manner and then things got physical. Oh my goodness.
Illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with
she's definitely smiling there, and then
a brain injury, and he is now here to join.
Oh my gosh, how did we get to that point? It's like you got to that point the second he turned around, and again, that's to be fair in that you got to that point when whatever was said before, and I have speculation on what happened in the car, but whatever was said before, that's just words. Okay, and even if he said something like super disrespectful, maybe he said something, I mean, he obviously said something enough to get this guy out of his car, right? But the second he stepped to him, that's when it became a physical thing. And it's like, and don't get me wrong, this driver is not in the right either, okay? You should be able, especially if you're driving Uber, you should be able to get disrespected on the daily and not let it get under your skin. So getting out of the car, if there was no reason to get out of the car, that's escalating in itself. Okay. So I'm not, painting this driver like a saint. My theory is, this CEO has a service animal. Let's be real, dude. Like, come on. I love pets. I love mental health. I used to work in social work. I'm going to say a lot of shit that sounds insensitive right now, but like, let's call a spade here. People abuse the service animal thing, right? And I just have a really hard time. I have a really, really, really hard time understanding this guy is a CEO of a pharmaceutical company, global pharmaceutical company, from what I understand. How the hell are you going to be a CEO of a global pharmaceutical company, but you can't ride in an Uber without your golden doodle? That math ain't mathin', man. Something there isn't right. Either it's not actually a service animal, or you're probably not fit to run a global company if you can't ride in a stranger's car without your dog. And again, I'm dipping my foot in this one. Fuck it. I'll probably have to delete this live. I don't give a fuck. At this point, who cares? I don't want to come at dogs, okay? But there's an element, especially when it's a service animal. Like, I kind of expect this service animal to not look like an animal that needs service itself. I've been around golden doodles. I love dogs in general. Okay. I don't got nothing against golden doodles. But let's just say golden doodles are not dogs or whatever that is. I don't even know if that's a golden, whatever that is, that's not a dog where I feel intimidated by. And I'm just of the camp. Maybe it's a little old school, maybe it's a little crazy, but like if you can get sucker punched by a stranger while holding your dog and the dog does not, like dog doesn't even bark at this guy coming at you, like I don't know, man. I've been around little itty bitty purse dogs, and they'll at least bark. It's like that dog needs to do its damn job. All right. All right. That's my take on dogs. That's probably, it's weird, man. And I actually write about this in my book a little bit. Of all the shit I said, being negative about dogs, I wouldn't be surprised if I get some shit from that. But I want the record show. I love dogs. You guys know I got the puppy in the Uber video. I mean, that dog, that's a little ass dog. That thing won't back down in front of anyone, man. I mean, that's the kind of dog where I'm like, you need to learn one day. So anyway, I'm rambling here, but yeah, might have to cut that part out. All right, so that's my little hot take on that. My take on what happened in the car. I'm sure he just called a regular Uber because Uber Pet wasn't available. So, and that's the thing. And I seen some of the comments. It was like, well, why didn't you just order Uber Pet? Not everybody has Uber Pet in their market because drivers don't want to take pets that they don't have to. And it's like, if when he shows up, the workaround is say it's a service animal because technically you're not allowed to deny a service animal. This driver was probably like, no, I don't want a freaking dog in my car. And being that he is an illegal immigrant, he's probably not as familiar with the, I don't know if that's an American thing or like just certain countries. It's definitely a cultural thing. I know every culture does not feel that way about animals or dogs. So like, maybe he doesn't know the rules. Maybe he does, and he just said, screw it. I'm not taking this dog in my car and ripping up the seats because maybe it's a rental, maybe it's a new car, whatever it is. Probably a rental because he's an illegal immigrant. And, if he brings it back to the rental place with scratches on the seats, they're not going to say, oh, well, you drove a service animal, so it's okay. And that's why the whole Uber thing, Uber's bullshit, right? So he probably said no, and he's frustrated because he just drove all the way to this guy's pickup location, and now he's not going to get paid. And I wouldn't even be surprised if this CEO says, well, you got to cancel because you're not taking a service animal. And again, I talk about this in my book. People are so weird with money, man. This guy's a CEO. Let's just assume he's earning a lot of money. Even if he's earning a regular amount of money. We're talking about $5 here. It's a $5 cancellation fee. But something I learned driving Uber, and I learned about myself, one of the things I like learning, one of the reasons I like seeing people Ubering is because you learn about yourself, And it's like, people have this weird emotional connection with money. It's not about the $5. It's about giving $5 to this driver and thereby somewhat admitting you're wrong, And it's like, he doesn't, people just like, they hate admitting they're wrong, and they hate giving money to the people they think aren't deserving. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bizarre thing, because at the end of the day, is $5 worth an argument? Is $5 worth the energy? Like, who cares what this guy thinks of you, And $5 definitely is not worth getting knocked the fuck out, So yeah, it's a weird thing. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO said something smart enough to get this driver out of the car, and then, you guys see the rest. But there is there's no doubt in my mind that this CEO story is complete bullshit. Not complete, I say complete bullshit because, everything else you can see. But yeah, he just painted himself as some innocent victim. It's like, dude, something else happened here. And then as far as everyone freaking out, you see the comments, I've seen other videos, people are like, how is an illegal immigrant driving Uber? It's like, dude, there are so many ways for this to happen. And one of the biggest ways is like, there's basically, they basically farm accounts. So, let's see, what is this guy's name? Vadim. Is that how you say it? So Vadim comes here from Russia, and he'll find a connect. Say me. Say I have, say I run this like Uber account for him. So Vadim will come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to drive for Uber." So I'll say, "Hey, all right, here are 50 Uber accounts that I have in my possession. Pick one that looks like you, and then that's yours." And then I'll sell it to him for maybe an upfront fee. And then on top of that, what a lot of these guys do is they say, "All right, Vadim, well, I'm going to get 30% of all your earnings." And there's nothing he can do to control that because I have the account. So all the money's getting paid to me. And he's not legal. So he has no recourse. He can't set up his own account. He can't go to the authorities and say, "Hey, I'm an illegal immigrant working for Uber, and this guy's stealing my money." And so that's how this works. And as you can imagine, for someone like me, if I was doing this is hypothetical. If I was doing this, you can imagine how profitable it would be because I can rent out 20, 30, 40 accounts and I'm just collecting 30%, on every single ride by doing no work. And on top of that, because he's an illegal immigrant, he's coming, I can't speak to this guy specifically, but it's no secret that our dollar goes further than, what is that? It's no secret that our dollar goes further than a lot of these other countries where these immigrants are coming from. So for Vadim, where he lives, and I'm assuming about Vadim, but this is how it works, 99% of the time. 5% of the time, these people don't know what they're doing with money. 95% of the time, earning $3 an hour is worth it to them because where they're from, they earn $3 a day. So they earn $3 an hour here, and you talk to these illegal immigrant drivers. It's honestly like you almost got to respect what they're doing. Every single one of them I talk to, they're like either living with family and friends, living in a basement, they're sharing a room with like 6 or 8 other people. Their cost of living is just so low. They work all the time, and they can accept these rides that end up, clearing $3, $4, $5, $6 an hour because that's a whole day of work back at home. And so by doing that, they undercut drivers like me who, I live here. So I don't have that, I'm not sending $100 back home to my family in Armenia and it's covering them for the next month, $100 here is going to get me breakfast at Wawa, that's a joke, but you know what I'm saying? And so that's why illegal immigrants are like undercutting legal immigrants and American citizens who used to be able to work for Uber and DoorDash and stuff and just can't do it anymore because they're just giving all the rides to them because it's cheaper. That's my spiel. All right. Let's see these comments. And then I'll get into stories. Pop this chat. All right, yeah, you saw it too. All right, you know what I'm talking about with the Prius. Bring it back to the old conversation. I'd also like to know the conversation that led up to this guy getting out of his car and cleaning this guy's costume. Again, I totally agree. And in the spirit of this live, that's why everyone should have a dash camera. I mean, this guy's screwed because he's an illegal immigrant. But, maybe he would be screwed a little less if he had a dash camera and he, he's got he's an illegal immigrant. So, this day and age, it seems like, yeah, he's probably screwed no matter what happened. But if you weren't an illegal immigrant and this same situation happened and you had a dash camera that showed this guy saying this, that, and the other, honestly, just showed that what this CEO's story or showed that this CEO story is complete bullshit because we all know that it is. I'm just gonna let this play for the visual. Like if you just had a dash camera that showed, hey, this CEO is a lying sack of shit. We all know he is. It would help. But yeah, there was definitely something that led to him getting out of his car. Wife was definitely silent. CEO fucked around and find out. Dude, well said, Roaster. The CEO fucked around and find out is not justified, but he was obviously talking shit. F off, that is a service animal. Amen to that. Not as shocked as that right left. Dude, it really did. Honestly, and it's like, it's stereotypical. Russians are like known to be like just crazy and hard. Like that's a badass move. To just like no hesitation. You can see his shock after he gets headbutted. And then like here it comes. He's just shocked. Like, oh my God, this is real life. This isn't a Zoom call? Boom! Oh my gosh, man. Not funny. Not funny. This is not funny. But in my defense, the wife was laughing too, so I feel like I can laugh as well. People taking advantage of this. You're not getting my audio with a fake service animal. Exactly. And it's like people taking advantage of that service animal rule is super annoying. There are actual service animals out there. I have a story about that, and I want to share this. And this is me being authentic and genuine. You know, when I bought a new car not new, it was 3 years old, but I bought a car for Uber. I was really dumb at the time. I should have bought a piece of shit car. But I thought, again, this is 2015. I thought, wow, if I have a nicer car, actually it was 2015. If I have a nicer car, like it'll be good for my business. Couldn't be further from the truth. If you're getting a car for Uber, rent it if it makes sense financially, which a lot of times it doesn't, or just get a complete piece of shit car because that's what's going to happen in this car. It's going to turn into, they're going to wreck it, right? But I got this car and, I had this idea where I'm like, I don't want a service animal in my car because, like, I get it, you need a service animal, but they're going to rip the seats up. It'll, hair everywhere, potentially, whatever it is, right? In principle, I'm like, I don't want service animals in my car. Sure as shit, one day I'm working and I have a pickup and it's raining out and I see this woman walking up with a dog. And she gets in. I'm telling this story this way to make it more of a reveal, but I knew where I was pulling up. I thought maybe it's a worker, but, somebody worked there. But sure enough, it was a pickup for like the school of the blind. And this girl walks up with a dog. She was a blind girl, and she gets in with this dog. And like, it's one of those things where, and this is why it pisses me off, when this guy's like, Uber should put humanity first. They're a global, corporation. It's like, no, that's how they become a global corporation. But when you're an Uber driver and you're out there actually dealing with people in your car, like, yeah, in principle, I don't want a dog in my car. But in reality, just like in principle, if someone's hammered drunk, I don't want to take them in my car. But if I pull up and the bar's closed and they're sitting on the step, on the sidewalk all by themselves and their phone's dead, I'm not going to just leave them there. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, Uber is this, like, really just fucked up situation because it puts these people who are not earning a lot of money, the drivers, in these impossible situations where it's like, okay, do I do the business thing, do the smart business thing and look out for my bottom line, or do I do the human thing and like take care of this person that I don't know, that is so drunk they might not even remember me, but because of what I'm doing, our paths cross. So now, like, I'm in this situation where I'm the only one here that can help them. It's fucked. It's really fucked. So back to my school of the blind story. In principle, I'm like, I don't want a dog in my car. And sure enough, I swear, it's like the universe testing me, or not even testing me. It's just the universe saying, like, Ed, chill the fuck out. A clean car isn't that serious, Because sure enough, it was raining, so it's muddy as shit. And this girl comes walking up with a dog, and when she goes to open the door, I realize, I'm like, oh, she's blind. And what am I going to do? Say, no, I don't want your dog in here? No, I'm not a fucking asshole. And not even that I'm a fucking... I don't care about my car that much to, like, project somebody in that situation, So, and again, universe sending me a message. It was actually really amazing. I still can see it clear as day. She gets in my car, and the dog doesn't get on my seats or anything. Gets like right, she sits in the front seat, and she gets the dog sits right like where your feet go, like in the wheel well or whatever it is, just curled up. And ironically enough, I don't know if it was a golden doodle, but it definitely had similar hair. I remember it was like kind of curly like that. So not all golden doodles are shit. It definitely wasn't a golden doodle, and maybe I'm just misremembering it because of this video right here. But it was just amazing that it curled up at the bottom of the thing, and we had a really nice ride. And I always remember, this is funny. She was like, she said, like, what kind of car is this? And I said, it's a Honda Civic. And she said something like, that doesn't help me, I'm blind. And she was asking like 4-door, like like van, whatever it was. And I think she had asked that before she got in. So I think she was trying to gauge like where she's supposed to step or something like that. It's honestly amazing, man. But yeah, so that's my story. That's my one experience with service animals. And again, it's just like, it honestly, that's probably part of why I really hate this guy. Not really hate him. It's probably part of my frustration with this guy's bullshit, because I'm like, there are people with actual service animals, and it's like, I think anyone with half a brain knows that this guy is full of shit. All right. Just looking for a yes or no. Yes, he looks for 10 seconds. Maybe he doesn't listen well. Right. If you roll on the bottom of your jeans, you will be hit. Could not agree more. What's up, Texas? Yeah, all right. I'm glad we're all... You guys are giving me the courage to make a video about this, because, like, when I saw this and you see the comments, I'm like, am I the only one that's seeing this bullshit? Like, this guy was asking to get hit. Like... All right. Just tuning in now. What I'm gathering here is a CEO is very small man on the inside. Amen to that. How's an illegal immigrant afford such a good car? Yeah, it's the rental, man. Dog don't like his owner. Could be good afternoon. What's up, Florida? What's up? What's up, Yeti? As a licensed plumber, I'm sick of illegal immigrants doing crap work, and then I have to fix it, and the homeowner pays twice. Interesting. Maybe the immigrants need a way to work legally and get insured, plumber. Oh, we got a little argument going on. Exactly. As a CEO himself, he knows he's multi-billion dollars. This guy's just looking to make a quick buck, probably because he can't succeed in his own business as well as he wants to. And I mean, honestly, I think there's an element. I'll get to these stories in a second, but there is an element of like, dude, you get knocked out like that, why would you broadcast it? Like, maybe this guy's play is like, all right, I'm just going to sue Uber and then retire from public life. And I don't mean like social media. I mean, like, I would have a hard time looking at my friends. Maybe this guy doesn't have friends, or at least he doesn't have friends like mine, because if I got knocked out while holding a dog, a golden doodle, in rolled up jeans or whatever the hell that is, and I got knocked out like that, I wouldn't tell anyone about it. Oh yeah, I got a black eye of playing basketball. Oh yeah, brain surgery. Is a crazy bike accident. Like, I would not I would pay to have this video buried. Like, oh, it's just so embarrassing, so embarrassing. But maybe he's just trying to make some money. All right. Let's get to these stories. That's my take. Stay tuned for a video about that. I feel like this needs to be addressed. Maybe it'll open some people's eyes up because, you know, Fox News, this video on Fox News got like 1.3 million views and, you know, it's just spewing bullshit. I mean, not bullshit. It's bringing light to the story. And I like that they're sharing it's an illegal driver, but it's like nobody talks about how common it is and why it's an illegal driver because we want illegal drivers. The market has shown that it wants illegal drivers because over and over again, I mean, I can't speak to everyone's market, but you take an Uber ride in Philadelphia, 90% chance the driver isn't going to speak English. And as a result, you get a super cheap ride. But people keep taking those rides because, you know, it's you know, that whole thing about evil Uber drivers or Uber driver sex traffickers, which we're going to get to in a second, like, it's all bullshit. If 90% of rides are done by illegal immigrants and 99.9% of Uber rides end safely, it's you know, reasonable to say that they're just people trying to work. The issue, and the market is reflecting like, hey, we don't care if our driver's illegal. We just care that the ride is cheap. And that's what's happening here. And yeah, you get these one-off stories that Fox News blows up and whatever it is. Like, that's what becomes an issue with the illegal immigrant thing where it's like, oh, it's dangerous. And then other people are like, okay, if it's so dangerous, why isn't more bad shit happening all the time? Well, it's not that dangerous. What the issue actually is that it does undercut the American worker because I can't compete with a guy who's going to take a $3 ride for an hour. I just can't do that, you know? It costs money to eat. All right. Let's do this. All right, so we got 3 stories today. For those of you who missed the live, I will repost these stories in a video. And make sure you vote in the comments or the community poll who you think we should win. Congratulations to Zachpot from last week for winning the Uber with the Uber stalker story. And today we have the sex trafficking Uber driver. We have the scariest ride ever. And we have ATV guy. And Rillick, are you still here? If so, I'm starting with your story. And we're working backwards. Rillick, if I recall, you are from Colorado. Oh, you know what? Blue, when you see this, this is for you. I am scrolling up so you can ride along or read along. If I remember from last week, Rillick said he was from Colorado. If I got that wrong, I apologize, but honestly, it's fitting for the story because I imagine something like this happening in Colorado. Howdy, Driver Ed. It's Rillick the Fool here. Let's see if I got it. With a tale from the road. I'm very much new to this game, but it hasn't taken me much time at all for me to see one of the most interesting and entertaining parts of Uber driving up close and personal. I'm talking, of course, about the strange people interactions you get on the road. That is exactly why I love Ubering. I've said this once, I've said it a million times. There are few occupations where you actually get to interact with people the way we do. And I mean like a wide array of people. You can pick up some guy from the projects or kind of hood, like we had the story last week, and then the very next ride could be a CEO with a service animal. There is no other occupation where you not only interact with such a wide range of people. I mean, even if you're like a cashier at a supermarket, you know, depending on where the supermarket is the kind of demographic of people you're going to meet. But with Uber, you're literally in every socioeconomic section of the city. So it's like you will meet the whole gamut of people. And then on top of that, you know, say you're a cashier, you get a quick little 5-minute exchange, if that, and they're just passing through. You're literally alone in a car with these people for the length of a car ride. And yeah, sometimes, you know, you don't have a conversation. Other times you hear what they're talking about on, you know, their cell phone or whatever. Other times just knowing where they live and where they're going, you can piece together, like, you know, what they do for work or whatever it is, you know, and where they go to school, whatever it is. And so it's like, I swear, there's no, for someone who's very interested in people, there's no other occupation that, you know, you can meet so many different people and like have such a intimate, for lack of a better word, experience with them, and like actually have the chance to get to know them or have a conversation with them. So that's what I think Rillick is saying here. What's up? So the other night I was driving late trying to round out my fares that I should turn off the app so that I could turn off the app and head home. I picked up a family, dad, mom, and their kid, for what I thought was going to be a quick, easy trip. Famous last words, right? It always goes like that. Turns out they were going to a semi-truck lot so that they could do something with dad's Mack truck. I actually had a drop off in a semi-truck lot before, and it was a really cool experience. It was two guys who were, you know, going for their, like they go and they get assigned a truck, and then they were going to be on the road for like the next week or whatever. And it was just like this huge lot with like, you know, 250 Mack trucks. Is wild. Whether they were all just piling it in for a family road trip or just getting something out of the cab, I have no idea. We didn't get that far because we were interrupted by me pulling up to a big locked gate. It's for you, Blue. Scrolling up. So Dad says, "Damn it, they locked me out. Let me make a quick call." And I, trying to be the sort of driver that I would want to have as a rider, classic, he said he's new to the game. That'll change eventually. Say that we can wait until he gets the gate open. I'm just kidding. Keep that humanity. Don't turn cold and bitter like me. That is very nice. Could run you into some trouble though. I don't want them to be stranded in case anything happened. That you should keep. I'm with you, especially because there's a kid there. You don't leave people stranded. Well, something certainly did happen. Shortly after Dad ended his call, presumably to the property manager, I noticed something coming toward us from the far end of the lot. At first, it's a little dot on the horizon, but then, as it gets closer, it starts to take shape into a guy. And then I realize what he's riding on. When I tell you that what I beheld before my visual orbs was a grown man speeding up to us on a child's toy, all-terrain vehicle, it's hard to describe how ridiculous what I'm talking about looked like. Basically, picture Bowser in Mario Kart, but in real life, and he's zooming. My visual orbs. But the fun definitely did not end there. When the gate attendant finally pulled up, he just stopped and stared at us for a little while. He didn't change his expression at all. I thought, that's kind of weird. I feel like this is the part where he would open the gate, but he didn't. Instead, he whipped his ATV in a little U-turn, excellent turning radius, may I say, and proceeded to light up a blunt. He puffed on the J for a little while, not really doing anything, which sort of prompted me to wonder, you know, if you're just going to smoke, why make the long trip all the way over here in the first place? Just to show us that you can open the gate if you want to? At this point, Dad is a little impatient, so he says, "Ah, man, he must not recognize me." So he gets out of the car, walks over to the gate, and has a brief one-sided conversation with the guy. Then Dad walks back to the car. From my vantage point, really nothing has changed. ATV guy is kind of hard to read, is what I'm trying to... ATV guy is kind of hard to read, is what I'm trying to say. He hasn't given me much so far. The strong, silent type. Great character development. But lo and behold, ATV guy decides this is enough for him to open the gate. Still, without having said a single word, he cruises up to the box and lets us in. So I follow ATV guy onto the lot so that I can take an extra couple minutes to get this family back to the truck. And man, there are kids in candy stores who weren't having as much fun as ATV guy. He was doing donuts, rocking back and forth. He was kind of top heavy on account of being a grown man on a child's four-wheeler, picking up speed, slowing down, and just generally having the time of his life. Still never said a word to us. It's understandable, really. It's his world. We're all just living in it. I love his story.
weeks later, I still think about ATV guy. I think about what his life must be like, just getting high and doing donuts on an automobile, on a child's automobile. I sometimes wonder what his job was, or if he even really worked at the truck lot at all. I hope to be as free as him one day. That is just a beautiful story. I am like that right there is why I wish I could drive Uber all the time, because you might not get that's a gem of an interaction. And you might not get something like that every day, but like you come across these people that exist in the world that you're living in, and like exactly how he ended it. Like, I hope to be as free as him one day. Like, you see so much shit in this world, and then you realize that, like, man, there's this guy who's just like happy as a clam, riding on a kid's toy, smoking blunts, opening gates. And it's like it like reminds you that, like, life is what you make it, man. Like, as crazy as it sounds, like, I have learned so much about myself and the world just by driving Uber. And it's instances like that where it's like, life is what you make it. You know what I mean? Like, how many people are parking lot attendants and are absolutely miserable? And this guy, like, I want to trade places with him. Like, I want to be him, you know? I don't want to trade places with him. I love who I am. I love my life. But, like, there's a lot of people that would want to trade places with him. And it's just like, man, it's beautiful. All right, so that is the ATV guy. I love that story. It's a nice, feel-good story. That's just great. All right, this is the scariest ride ever, submitted by Sharon. Sharon is in Michigan. I meant to put that in there. Southfield, Michigan. I don't know where that is, but, to me, Michigan's all the same. There's Detroit, and then there's a lot of nothing. But, like, it's nice nothing. I've driven through the top half. I just assume it's just, like, a lot of green or, snow. That's just, I'm making that up. It's just what I assume. A lot of lakes, right? Isn't that the land of 1,000 lakes, or is that Minnesota? But I'm sure it's similar. They're right next to each other. I used to drive for Uber and Lyft and wanted to tell you about the scariest ride I ever gave anyone. I picked him up at a church, of all places, about 30 miles from the destination, so it's a hike. He wanted to go to this empty, abandoned, originally Ramada Inn in Southfield, Michigan. Okay, so we have a female driver picking up someone driving 30 miles away from a church. And now, in my experience, tell me if you guys agree with me, but the church pickup is either like, it doesn't make me feel good, because it's going to be an extreme. It's going to be like a really good person who's like really religious and holy and all that kind of stuff. Or it's somebody who's like at rock bottom, and that's why they went to church. And, like church is they're like, not, church is like, they're trying to save themselves. You know what I mean? And so you never know who you're getting, basically. But it's probably not just going to be like, just a random ride. He wanted to go to this empty, abandoned, originally Ramada Inn. So an abandoned hotel. Spectacular. Motel, I guess. The place was pitch black, as well as the parking lot at the rear of the building. As we drove in, I thought, oh, Sharon, what have you gotten yourself into? There was almost a full moon that night. It was about 1 a.m., and so it gave a little bit of light to the area. I'll say, before I drove Uber, I never noticed how much, you think night is night. Like, night, it's dark at night. It is night and day. Ironic, stupid, corny. But it is like very noticeable when it's a cloudy night versus when it's not cloudy versus when there's a full moon. And it's like, it does make things so much more creepier. So fortunately, there's a full moon tonight and enough moonlight to see. I stopped so I would have enough moonlight to see. He kept saying drive towards the back. That was the real oh shit moment. I said, no, I'm good right there. Now, let's just appreciate this driver's situation. It is a female with a man in the back in an abandoned motel parking lot with the guy saying, drive to the back. What's scary about that situation, what's scary about being an Uber driver is like, she didn't know that it was abandoned motel before she got there. And then at that point, even though she's standing up for herself and saying, no, I'm not doing that, she's still in an empty, abandoned parking lot with somebody sitting behind her. I mean, as a female, it's extra scary, but like as anyone, like you are in a very vulnerable situation. You're fucked, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's why like people don't understand how crazy it is to drive Uber, and like you gotta like, if this was me, I wouldn't have stopped the car. I would have turned right back around and got on the road and be like, I'm not. I wasn't there, obviously. Fortunately, he got out and walked to the darkness in the back of the building. That night, I learned what the expression "my knees were knocking" truly meant. Sharon, I read that. My heart started pumping too. I'm glad you're okay. You know, it's one of those things where people don't realize. That's another thing I learned about driving Uber. And, you know, I've learned about myself. People don't realize how they're perceived. Like, people are not self-aware. Chances are this guy didn't have bad intentions. Chances are, if I were to guess, he was, you know, leaving church, probably homeless. He was at church for some reason of need, whether it's talking to someone or getting food or clothing or shelter, or maybe he's working for the church or something. And he's probably living at this abandoned hotel because it's abandoned, it's shelter, you know? So chances are it probably nothing was going to happen, because nothing did. That's why I would say that. But you never know, you know? You never know if, you know, you just never know. And on top of that, Sharon, the driver, has no way of knowing that, and you always want to assume the worst because you got to be safe. If you assume the best every time, eventually you're going to run into some trouble. So, I guess the moral of the story is, if you ever find yourself living in an abandoned motel, just let the driver know, hey, I'm living here. It's an abandoned hotel. I'm not going to do anything bad. Definitely the moral there. All right. The last story. The segs trafficking. Sorry, I gotta do stuff like that because you never know what you're gonna get like flagged for. Man, we've been on here for a while. Oh, sweet. Got 2 new messages. Got 2 new requests for the download code. All right. All right. This story, my friends. Moises. I don't know if it's Moses or Moises. From Montgomery County, which is next to Delco. If you're watching this, you have to understand, my friend. I'll get into it. This story drives me nuts, and I am sure, especially male drivers. I don't know if female drivers will be able to relate to this, but male drivers, this is like, I have like so many, don't get me started. All right. Moises from Monco. The sex trafficking Uber driver story. So the story goes like this. I picked up 2 older ladies, probably in their 50s, from a local bar. I want you guys to remember that. These are women in their 50s. The ride was only 18 minutes, so I was hoping for a smooth late night pay. I pulled up with my hazards on, waiting for these 2 women in their 50s to come out. 3 minutes passed, and I was about to cancel the ride because they were taking too long. Just then, a woman opened the door and asked if I was the Uber. I said yes and introduced myself as Moises. I noticed 2 women waiting by the door. The woman I had spoken to told her friend, "Get in the fucking car." In my head, I thought, oh man, here we go. It's how it always goes, man. You just want
An easy late night ride, make some money. That's never the case. The woman then said, "Just let me check the plates. He could be a trafficker." I didn't say anything, just smirked to myself. That shows me he's a veteran driver. The other lady jumped in and said, "Sorry, she's kind of fucked up and is an idiot." I replied, "No worries, better safe than sorry." And let me be clear, I understand better safe than sorry. And that is what you're supposed to do. Check the plates. But what drives me nuts, it goes exactly back to that dumbass girl in the, did I delete the video? To the dumbass girl who's smiling when her boyfriend, husband is about to get knocked out, right? It's like, this is real life. In real life, if you really thought somebody was a trafficker, if you really thought someone was so evil that they would kidnap you and sell you into slavery, do you think the right thing to do is to say, "Oh, this guy could be a trafficker"? It's like, no, you don't actually believe that. If you believe that, you wouldn't use Uber. The reason you're saying that is because you're trying to flex. You're trying to show your power that, "Oh, look at me. I'm a fucking Uber rider and you're my driver." Like, who the fuck talks like that to another person? I'm at the point where, I don't want to say it's a rule of thumb, but depending on the situation, if somebody says shit like that to me, it's like, I don't want you in my car. Like, that's just like such a horrible thing to say. Like, don't get me wrong, you can think it and you can act on that worry, but don't sit there and say that to my face like I don't have ears, talking about me as if I'm not there, and accusing me of being one of the scummiest pieces of shit on earth. Like, what? In what world would you do that to somebody? Unless you think they wouldn't do anything bad. Again, don't pull that thing out unless you plan to bang. Don't talk some shit unless you're ready to back it up. But Moises, again, I've been there too. Better safe than sorry. He just smirked. It's one of those things where if you picked every battle, if you canceled every dumb bitch that said something like that, you miss out on a lot of rides. After checking my plates, the first woman asked for my name again and who I was picking up. The clock was now at 6 minutes. She verified the ride 3 different ways: plates, name, and who's picking up. Right? Okay. Name. This is it. This is the right person, right? And waited 6 minutes. I mean, I would have canceled that shit and got the $5 and had them request another one. But maybe there was a surge, whatever it is. They both buckled up and I started driving according to the app. Immediately, the first woman said I was going the wrong direction. I showed her the address and she confirmed it, but then said I was still wrong, because historically women are better at directions than GPS. The other woman explained that the app was giving me directions and they started arguing with each other. So it seems like we got one woman that's just looking for a problem and the other woman is reasonable. Trying to stay patient and de-escalate the situation, I asked the first woman where she wanted me to go. She told me to make a U-turn, so I complied, and it added a few minutes to the ride. It's one thing if this was the 80s and you're just flying blind, but we're literally driving with GPS that calculates to the second how long it will be. And then when you go a different way, it adds minutes. It's like, you're wrong, lady. You were wrong. Then the second woman asked if I was sure I wasn't a trafficker. Again, I'm just going to read this story. I'll talk forever. I replied, I am not a trafficker. I am just an Uber driver trying to make money on the side. The first woman concerned, he's just a driver. But the second woman kept insisting that most traffickers are Hispanic men and make women disappear. At that point, I would have pulled over on the side of the road and told him to get the fuck out of my car. That is so ignorant on every level. Racist, classist, sexist,
And if you really believe that, then then you are the dumbest bitch in the entire world riding in a car with me. I'm sorry, you don't curse as much, but this shit riles me up because it's happened to me so many times, and I never say this to the passenger because, again, I'm not trying to, raise my voice and curse at some drunk woman in my car. And it's a tough situation. And, given where they are, the fact that they had two people together, I don't know if I do it, but it's like you don't want to leave two people on the side of the road. But how much shit can one person take? And if you really think I'm a trafficker, it's like, why are you in the car with me? And if you're saying that shit, God knows what you might say about me after the fact. God knows how you might interpret something. God knows if I make a wrong turn, how you're going to interpret that as me trying to kidnap you, and all of a sudden you're going to pepper spray me from the back of the car or stab me from the back of the car, Because it's like, if you reasonably believed you're being kidnapped or that I'm a trafficker, wouldn't it be reasonable for you to try to stab me? I mean, so it's like you're either just trying to be a disrespectful bitch or you really believe this shit. And either way, I don't want you sitting behind me. Like, it's just... So anyway, they start to argue, and then again, the woman pats me on my arm and asks me if I'm a trafficker. Like, that's just so... there's a story in my book. I don't... The copy's over there. Where it's like, the girl... it's titled The Dumbest Question or The Craziest Question They Ever Asked or something like that. And this woman... I don't even like talking about this because it's like, a heavier subject and it kind of ruins the story. But this woman basically asked me if I would do something similar to a friend of hers. And it's like, in what world do you like, are you, first of all, she touched him on the arm. I'm sure if he touched her on the arm, she'd cause a sting. But in what world it's like, are you a trafficker? You know what? I am a trafficker, but I'm not a liar. So I have to admit, I was planning on kidnapping you. If they're traffickers, I'd fucking lie to you, dumbass. Like, what are you doing? I replied, again, you are correct. I'm not a trafficker. She then said, I can snap your neck in two if you try to kidnap us. In my head, I thought, what the fuck is wrong with these two? And for me, I mean, even worse than the racist, classic, sexist insult she gave about Hispanic men making women disappear. You threaten me physically. It's like, I'm sorry. You're on your own now. I don't care if we're in the middle of nowhere. Get the fuck out of my car. You're on your own. You're sitting behind me and you're telling me you're going to sound like that. When, I mean, let's be honest. You're a woman in your 50s. I don't care if you have a background of MMA. You're a woman in your 50s. I don't care if you're a black belt. You're a woman in your 50s. Chances are you're probably losing a fight with a dude. 99% of the time, take any woman in their 50s and take any dude. Like, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. In my head, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these two? Then they start talking, arguing about some dumb shit about some guy at the bar. And the first lady, the one who doesn't think I'm a trafficker, tells me I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so we got one who sucks with directions but is cool, and then the other who is like the worst woman ever. I'm like, no, we are not in following directions on the app. She says, well, the app is wrong and you don't know where you're going. Man, that's crazy. This woman is so smart. She knows better than Google. That is just like, I want to meet this woman. She is smarter than Google. This amps up the second woman with the trafficker nonsense again. She keeps telling me she's going to snap my neck in two. So I pull over and tell them, if you don't trust me to take you home, then you can step out and get another Uber home. They refuse to get out and tell me not to be mean to them. I'm annoyed. This is what Moses said. I'm annoyed. So what are we doing? Am I taking you home or are you staying here? They both replied, we're going home. I said, okay. And again, I say I'm not a trafficker and I'm following directions on the app. They didn't say anything. I started driving. This is what drives me nuts. There's been videos about this online. It happens all the time. It's always women. It's always women. It's never, I don't want to say it's never men, but it's almost always women.
where they put on some shit where it's like, I feel so unsafe and you're so dangerous. So then when you say get out of the car, they say, I can't get out here, it's too dangerous. Or like they refuse to get out, but tell him not to be mean to them. It's like, what? And when I say women, I don't mean all women. Don't twist my words. I said something in a video recently that's getting some views, and people are like, this guy said women shouldn't vote. I said, no, people like this woman shouldn't vote. I don't even think I said woman. I said people. I said this. I said you. This person can vote. And so don't twist this shit into like a men-women thing. I'm just saying when it happens, it's not all women. It's not all women. So relax. But it just blows my mind when how these people can live in a world where they're saying racist, sexist, classic, insulting things to this guy, physically threatening him, and then he says, okay, then get out of my car, and they say, no, don't be mean to us. Like, that is not an adult. That is a fucking child, and that's how they're acting. And that's how so many Uber riders act. 2 minutes in, they are talking to each other about something. I'm not even paying attention to them until they start slapping each other. I started to raise my voice like they're children. I started to raise my voice I'm so invested. I feel like this happened to me because there's been so many instances that are similar. Never girls hitting each other in my car. Close. Actually, the one worst. Yeah, I've talked about this, but here, I'm invested in the story. All right. I'm sorry I keep interrupting, but like, oh, I'm fired up. I start to raise my voice in the car, asking them to calm down and not to fight in the car while I'm driving because one of them had hit my arm. Now we're on dark back roads. They stop hitting each other, but are still arguing again, calling each other stupid bitches. So if anyone has taken umbrage with me referring to these women as stupid bitches, you should know they refer to themselves as stupid bitches. So I nailed it. The first woman starts again with wrong directions, and the second woman again says she's going to break my neck. At this point, I have 5 more minutes left to drop off, and I ignore them. The second woman, the one who was afraid I was a trafficker, again pads my arm to try to get my attention. She asks me to take her home after I drop off the first woman and says she will give me cash, but she needs to go into her friend's house to grab her coat. So this woman, who is afraid that this guy is a trafficker, is now asking to drive her off the app alone to a different location. Make it make sense. You know how it makes sense? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. And this is like not talked about enough, but it's what it is. And a lot of the time, it's like it's women who either don't have it, like younger girls who don't have it, and they want to feel like they're like some sort of victim. Or a lot of times, in my experience, it's older women who maybe they used to have it. You can tell. Back in the day, they might have gotten some attention. And now, nobody cares about them anymore. And they don't like that. And they need to make up some sort of story as if there's anywhere in the world that is kidnapping 60-year-old women and selling them into trafficking. Like, it doesn't happen, you know? Nobody wants your dusty ass. I'm getting old too, so I can say that, okay? It's like, get over it. Your time is gone. You're not that anymore. Let it go. It's okay. Isn't it better to live a life where you're not at risk to be trafficked? Like, wouldn't you rather have that? Why do you want to believe that there's people out there that want you so bad that they would risk years and years in prison for you? Like, get over it. Oh, man. I lied and said, sure, no problem. Now, this is another thing. I'm telling you, this story is like, I keep interrupting, but there's just so much truth in this story. Something I struggle with making videos as somebody who wrote a book that is all true. Everything in my book is true. I hate showing videos or telling stories where I admit that I'm lying to my passengers, because I learned the hard way that I wouldn't even say the hard way. You learn quickly that it's good to be honest. It's not good to lie. but it just makes no sense, to be honest, in a lot of situations. And in a situation like this, what Moises is thinking is, you just threatened to snap my neck multiple times, said terrible things about me, accused me of being a trafficker potentially, and now you want me to be alone in the car with you off the app for longer? No, you dumb bitch. I'm not going to do that. Now, if he said that to her, you can imagine the chaos that might ensue, right? But instead, he can just lie and say, sure, no problem. And there's a lot of situations where it's weird. And this is someone who like prides myself on honesty, prides myself in being a reliable narrator. Like, again, the stories in my book are true. And so it's always hard for me to like, not hard for me, but I always don't like admitting like, yeah, I lied to this person because it'd be the easier route. But the thing is, I remember I talked about it with that poor driver who wouldn't take the bigger woman. Because he was afraid it would damage her car. There was a video about it. She like sued Lyft. She was a rapper. I don't know if you saw that video. And like the mistake that driver made was he was honest with the woman and said, hey, I'm sorry, you're too fat to get in my car. You're going to damage it. Where like, as weird as it sounds, the right thing to do would be to lie to her and say, oh, I'm sorry, my stomach hurts. I need to go home and use the bathroom or something. Or, I'm out of gas. I need to get gas. Just make up some bullshit. Because as weird as it sounds, like the right thing to do in these situations is to lie to avoid problems. And that's exactly what Moises is saying. I lied and said no problem, where in his head he's thinking it's a problem. And they both changed their attitude and said, thank you for the ride and we appreciate you. And I replied with a thank you, no problem. Finally, at the drop-off point, and they start to get They're finally at the drop-off point and they start to get out. The first woman steps out, and the second woman trying to get out but managed to tie up herself. The first woman steps out, and the second woman, while trying to get out, managed to tie herself up and her purse into the seatbelt. They were both trying to untie it but made it worse. So Moises, gets out of the car. Basically, she tangled herself up in the seatbelt. This woman is so dumb, she can't get out of a car. I go to help, but she cursed at me and says, don't touch me. Do not get close. Again, she thinks he's a trafficker. I'm like, woman, you are stuck and I'm trying to help you. A minute passes before this lady pulls out a knife. She was going to cut my seatbelt. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about, where like someone's sitting behind you thinking you're a trafficker, saying they're going to snap your neck. It's like, you don't know what they have on. You don't know what they're... So if you think I'm a trafficker, I don't know that you're not going to panic and pull out this knife. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, I shut that shit down right away. If you think I'm a trafficker, get the fuck out of my car, you know? So anyway, man, I'm cursing a lot today. This story fires me up. I'm like, whoa. You are not doing that. And she yelled back at me, I'm stuck. And I'm like, I'm mad at this point, and I said, no shit. So I stepped out of my car, told her to stay still. I'm going to untie you and get you home. It's like this woman was about to cut this man's seatbelt. She calmed down and got her. She calmed down. I got her out. She calmed down. I got her out, and she tells me to wait, and she'll come right back for the other ride. I said, sure. They started walking, and I completed the trip. One starred her and blocked her and drove off before she came out. Well played. That was the most emotional, bipolar experience I've ever had. That, my friends, is why everyone needs a dash cam. Like, God knows if accusations were made, you know, and again, it's 2 against 1. You got two women versus one Uber driver. Who are they going to believe? You know what I mean? And it's like, if I didn't have a million rides just like that, I might think like, Moises is being a little dramatic. No way that happened. No way. But I have had plenty of experiences just like that. I've seen plenty of experiences, you know, because I watch a ton of these videos on YouTube. Like, that is not uncommon. I'm sure any driver watching this can relate. Any male driver, at least. Most male drivers, I should say. But yeah, that is why everyone needs a dash cam. Okay, guys, the goal this week is 15 books. I already got 2 in the inbox, people requesting the code. If you guys are interested in a free audiobook code, email thedriveredshow@gmail.com. Let's get up to 15 downloads this week, and I'll put the poll up after the video's up about which driver deserves a dash camera. That was wild. All right. Sorry, I was fired up there. I was like, man, those women, it's just like, drives me nuts. What's up, Anna? Woman here approaching 50. Great to know I'm not at risk. Yeah, the thing is, and this is like a controversial take, nobody likes to admit this, but like the whole trafficking thing, I'm not saying it's not real. It's just like, and don't get me wrong, it's like, it's obviously high stakes. Like it's not, happens once, it's way too many times. But like if I'm getting in an Uber or someone I know is getting in an Uber, like the worry isn't, are you going to get trafficked? The worry is, wow, has this driver been working for the past 18 hours for the past 5 days and is going to fall asleep at the wheel? Or is he going to get distracted because he's getting all these Uber requests in the middle of it and drive into the back of a parked car, which just happened in Philadelphia? Am I going to get sideswiped by somebody else texting and driving? Like, people don't understand. Driving in cars, I don't mean to freak people out here. Like, it's the most dangerous thing everyone does on a daily basis. And it's like, you can worry about all this other silly shit. It's like, it would be better if, Uber drivers were vetted, not for this trafficking bullshit that rarely happens, but for like the accidents that happen every single day. Why deliver food in packages, man? They don't give you problems like that. Oh, I remember that. Driver was totally right. Shane, honesty made into a national story. What was I talking about? Sorry, I forget. The pepper spray, the one that I remember I brought that up. That was a story. How do you reduce the number of crazy people who book an Uber? I think it'd be terrifying. Absolutely need all those cameras. Absolutely. Yep. Tanner's right. Time of day and location. That's like the best way to do it. I mean, these women, like he said, picked up from a local bar. He said end of night, looking for late night pay. They were obviously drinking, So yeah, the risk of bad things happening goes way down the higher the sun is up in the sky. And, well, that's not true. Closer to morning. That's also not true, depending on, morning starts at midnight. I would say just daytime. I'm being too fancy with my measures. Morning, daytime, chances go down. The week, a ride Thursday at 6 o'clock, probably not going to be a drunk person. Ride Saturday at 6 o'clock, might be a drunk person. And then location, if I'm picking someone up from, a bar versus I'm picking up someone from a library, it's going to be different. I'm in England right now, and Uber drivers are allowed to select to pick up women only, which I find creepy. I was mentioning the large woman whose weight could be damaged by his car. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, the honesty made a national story. Exactly, yeah. Glad we're on the same page with it. That's interesting. I'm wondering, I remember they rolled something out about like women only pick up women. I think Lyft was doing that here in the United States. I was interested because, Uber and Lyft are very, at least they pretend they're left-leaning companies, which is ironic because like they are the most soulless, capitalistic, like they portray progressiveness while acting as like the most insanely
greedy, corporate. It just, it's bullshit. But it was interesting to me because it's like, they are very, what's the thing? Like, gender is how you feel and all that kind of stuff. So if women can only pick up women, what if someone who doesn't identify as their birth gender identifies as a woman? Does that mean they get to pick up women too? It's like how they do that. And then like, I can understand as a female only wanting a female driver. But on the flip side, and I've talked about it in my videos before, as a male driver, I would prefer female riders for my safety. And I'll die on this hill. Female riders in general, especially drunk female riders, are way more annoying, louder, talk more, ask more questions, whatever it is, right? And you do run more of a risk of, like, say, an accusation or something like what happened to Moises here. But as long as you have a dash camera, I'm fine with that. Male riders carry way more risk of assault, physical assault. And, like, if I had a choice, late night, I would drive women late night rather than men. Ideally, honestly, it's like a couple. Like, typically when there's a couple, the guy's not pissed off because he has a girl with him, and then the girl isn't going crazy because, there's, I don't want to say like, they just balance each other out. You know what I mean? So, like, honestly, if I could pick, it'd just be like a couple at the end of the night. Male and female. Maybe guy and two girls. It's honestly like the best scenario. But yeah, like if women can choose to only pick up women, why can't men choose to only pick up women? Like that's sexist, right? It's sexist against me. But I also think it's creepy as hell if I was a rider and like, wait, why is this driver only picking up women? What's his deal? Like, that's weird. Because again, people don't think about it from the other person's perspective, which I understand, Some male drivers are selecting women only over here. That's really interesting they can do that. Wild stuff. All right, let's see. I don't know. Oh, here we go. There we go. All right. Well, guys, that's my spiel today. Let's refresh. Maybe we got a third. No, only two. But hey, Mike, if you're still here, thanks for reaching out. I'll hook you up with the code, and maybe we can see on. See, Audible does not update in real time. So if anyone did download an audiobook, I don't know if it'll come through. Still at 79. Hey, that's all right. We got all week. Let's get to 15 this week. Thank you very much for coming out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for some new videos coming up. And I will see you next week for Free Camera Friday. Sorry, I got a little fired up with that video, man. That struck a nerve. Happened way too many times. And happy Friday, happy Labor Day for those of you in the United States that are celebrating. I always say when the sun sets on Labor Day, it is the saddest time of the year, signaling the end of summer, at least up here in the East Coast. I know down south their beach season lasts until what's the one in October? Is that President's Day or is that Columbus Day? Columbus Day, right? Yeah. I know it lasts till Columbus Day down south, but up here our summer's over on Labor Day. So happy Labor Day. Thanks for coming out. And guys, I'll see you next week. Yeah, one girl pointing the gun at the back of the driver's head and didn't even know it was enough for me to never drive for these ads. Amen to that. I've seen that video. Of course, they're sitting behind you. There's a reason some taxis put plexiglass up to protection. Yep, that's right, JG. Hey, thanks a lot, JD. You too. And all right, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming out. Bye.